Thanks to these little clamps, this is making RV solar installs, not to mention van builds, shed builds, and more, super easy. So if you're looking to install solar on your RV, stick around for a few minutes and I'll show you how I did this super clean install. It was really easy, and not to mention, it's something I think everybody will be able to do because this just makes it so much simpler. So I'll talk about how I got this prepped, also the wiring that was involved, the type of solar panels I used and why. And at the end of the video, we'll also talk a little bit about some of the pros and cons and also the added weight, because weight does take away from your total payload. Now, if you've kept up with me on my channel, then a couple years ago, you'll know that I installed a flexible solar array that was 2200 watts using Renogy flexible solar panels. And I was able to collect a lot of data and a lot of information that people have used to see if that was a good option for them. But along one of those trips, I ended up damaging the roof liner to my RV, which led me having to replace it. But instead of going with a typical TPO roof, where you could easily damage it pretty much right away because it's so thin, I ended up going with a Flex Armor Forever roof. That way I wouldn't have to deal with sealing it every 6 to 12 months, and it's a lot more durable, and just because that way I don't have to worry about it. It's a non-maintenance item. But before I did the Flex Armor roof, I had to do a lot of prep at home with the solar panels, so I ended up ripping off all of the flexible ones, then started prepping where I was going to put the new solar array. That way by the time I got up to the shop, I knew exactly where the solar panels were going to go, so this way we could get all of the anchors placed and then they could start spraying the roof, which this was actually a really cool process and something really cool to learn and just see how it was done. But now that the roof is completely done and ready to go, now I can start installing the solar array. Now, even if you don't have that type of roof, this whole job can still be done because you're just using aluminum unistrut, and you would just normally use some lag screws you would want to drill into the trusses of the roof if you can, getting your anchor points. And on the bottom of this, you're going to want to use some butyl tape. Then you'll put the lag screw in after you drill a hole, and then you're going to use a sealant of your choice, whether it's Dicor self-leveling sealant or something else that you found that might be better. But overall, the principles still apply. I just had to do more work before I got to this point. So now that the roof is finished, I could start laying down my unistrut onto the anchors. And some of the unistrut I did have to cut shorter because certain areas required a shorter length of unistrut. And again, it's going to be different for every RV install because they're all different depending on where your vents are, ACs, and more. But once you start laying down the unistrut, this actually goes really quick because again, the anchor points are all right there for me. So then I could start putting down my hardware to anchor down the unistrut. Now, I did use zinc washers and zinc lock washers because this is something that is compatible with aluminum. You can still get a little bit of that galvanic corrosion, but that's really only in high humidity areas or also areas where there's a lot of salt water. So if you live on the coast, then you may want to just go with all stainless steel. But if you've seen the prices of stainless steel hardware, it has gone up dramatically over the last few years. But there is a trick you can do is by using silicone and spreading it all over the washer. This kind of creates like its own little rubber washer on top and on bottom, and this can dramatically slow down that galvanic corrosion that can happen over time. Now, I don't live in an area that has a lot of high humidity. I get a little moisture in the morning, but for the most part, all of my water is not hard water. It's not kind of a marshy water, and I'm not near the coast. So by doing the silicone trick, this actually works really well, and it's just something that's simple, and it even kind of prevents the nuts if they were to come loose. If you get a little silicone on the stud itself, kind of acts as a little bit of a stopper from it flying away. So now that I have all the unistrut strapped down, this is where it starts to come to the electrical part. Now, during the roof prep, when I was getting it sprayed, this is where I did pull in some new solar wire. I did have one set of 8 gauge wires and a set of 10 gauge, and I ended up adding 2 more. So I did 2 sets of 8 gauge wire plus the existing, giving me a total of 3 inputs. This way it's a little bit more universal if I want to change things in the future, or maybe I have a set of wires that goes bad. It's just there for in case I want to change my setup. Now, after getting the roof prepped and pulling the wires, we added a pipe, and then I had to add some type of a box. And this is the only weak point when it comes to the Flex Armor roof because the whole thing is sealed and it's lifetime guarantee, but because this is a direct entry point for water to get into, you have to make sure the electrical box is sealed properly. Now, I ended up just using one of the Cantex boxes at an electrical supply store. You can pick this up at Home Depot or Lowe's, and drilling a hole in the bottom of it using a hole saw for the size of pipe that you have, this makes it for a really easy install. So I took silicone and spread it all over the bottom of the box, and then also where the holes are the mounting points, because you can't use these to drill into the material now, so you have to use that instead. And by putting it where the holes are, this does give it a little bit of shear strength. This actually made for a really clean install, as I was just able to simply put the box over the existing wires, and then I could take off the little protective cap that they actually installed on it at the factory. It was just something to prevent water from getting in during the travel getting home, and now I have all 3 sets of my solar wires ready to go. Now, when it does come to solar grommets, kind of like this one here, I picked this up. This is basically from Arlington brand, and it wasn't something I could find on Amazon. I had to go to a local supply store, and these are only about $5 to $6 each, depending. I ended up grabbing 3 of these and installing them into the box. This was super simple, obviously just using a hole saw, but being that this is so short, it doesn't allow a lot of room for your lock washer onto the back, so that might be something you want to keep an eye on future travels. It does work, and so far it's good, but I will be checking on it later just to make sure that it maintains and it doesn't come out. Now, when it comes to bringing in all of my wire, I ended up tying them all into one of these Dinkel combiners. This is really simple. You just put one wire in one side, one in another, and then you can jump it into your main solar wire that goes down to your controller. And these are not really expensive. All I did is I used a type of sealant, which if you've ever used something called the Right Stuff, that is an amazing product. If you want something that doesn't come loose and you don't want to use screws, I just put it on the bottom of the DIN rail, pressed it down, and that stuff is amazing. I've used it for years. The only thing is that it's expensive, so that little can is about $25. So now comes the wiring. Now, I'm using just normal PV wire. It's 10 gauge, and I ended up having a lot of scrap pieces left over because our family was in the solar installation business, so I kept a lot of scrap pieces, but this actually adds a little bit of time because you're having to find out which pieces are long enough for where you're going to be installing your solar panels versus just having spools of wire. You can just cut it to length and move along quite quickly. This actually added a good hour to my job because I was trying to find links that were the correct size. But by doing that, that did help reduce the cost a little bit and not having a whole bunch of wire left over that I probably wouldn't use for at least a year or more. Now, after getting all the wire laid out, this is when you want to start installing your MC4 connections. Now, I highly recommend using the true Staubli connectors that are MC4 if you're doing something a little bit more than, say, a hobbyist type installation. If you're just doing small stuff on the ground and it's not very high voltage or high amps, then you could probably get away with the factory stuff. It's mainly using connectors that are the same brand. And I also showed this several years ago. When it comes to doing your MC4 connections, it's super simple to remember as long as you follow this one step, is that if you have a female connector, you're going to need the opposite male pin, because a female pin and a male pin go together like a couple. Now, I didn't make these rules, this is just how they did it, but if you remember that a female and a male always go together, then you'll know you always have it right when it comes to doing your MC4 connections. So, male connector gets a female pin, and a female connector gets a male pin. So then all you have to do is strip the PV wire about 6 to 8 millimeters. You're going to take the pin, then install it into your MC4 crimp tool, which you can use a different one. You don't have to use the expensive ones like the one I have. You can use the ones from Bouge RV, or there are some other brands as well. Then you're going to make your crimp connection and then install it into the back of your connector. Then you're going to use your torque tools and make sure you just tighten it down until you hear it click, and then your connection is done. Now, once all of your wiring is laid down, this is when you can start putting down your solar panels, which this is where it starts to get quick, because you're just going to simply lay down the solar panels onto the unit strut. You're going to take a couple of your end clamps, install those, and now you just have to butt up a couple of your solar panels by placing a couple of the mid clamps into the middle, push your solar panel up against that, install your other end clamps, and then tighten those down. Then you're going to want to tighten down the mid clamps in the middle, and that little section or small array is now done, and you can move on to the next one. And this is one of the cool things about doing it this way, is you have the option to use many different types of solar panels after this is already installed. So if you wanted to change the setup later, or maybe you just don't like the install that you did, you can again change it with wider solar panels, skinnier, longer, it doesn't matter. So you're not just tied to one certain type of solar panel. Now, one of the things you may need to do is using those end clamps, you may need to trim the bolt down a little bit depending on the thickness of the solar panel's frame. Now, this is something you don't want to do until you actually have the solar panels, because they can be a little bit longer than the unit strut, which then it could penetrate your roof. So you'll want to make sure you pick out your solar panels first and then do a ground test, and that way you can determine if you need to trim the bolt or not. Now, the solar panels I'm using, if you saw my video earlier, I ended up testing 5 solar panels that are all 200 watt, some bifacial and some not. I ended up testing the Renogy Shadow Flex, Bouge RV bifacial, the Call Sun 200 watt Rooftop, Bifacial, and also a couple others. And I tested these multiple times. I bought them all myself so I wouldn't be influenced by any kind of a company, and the Callsun consistently came out better no matter what kind of testing. If it was shade testing, which I had already planned on using the Renogy ShadowFlex, but after testing and finding the results of the Callsun, they just did that much better, producing more power per day. And if you times that by more solar panels, you're actually going to have more production. So it ended up being that that was the solar panel I chose. And even though they are bifacial, they're actually cheaper than the Renogy ShadowFlex. It just made much more sense to buy the Callsuns because of the price difference. And after making that video, Callsun actually saw that video. They got a hold of me and said, hey, we love the video. We also want to help support you in your project. So they actually sent me out some of the solar panels that you see here. So thank you so much, Callsun, for the support. Appreciate it. But now you can see that the project is moving along a lot quicker. Now that the solar panels are down onto the Unistrut, it's mainly now just tying up your wiring that goes into your electrical box and also giving it those finishing touches. I did add some of this wire wrap that goes around the wiring. That way that gives it a little bit of a cleaner look. This is something you don't have to do, as PV wire is actually rated for underground, or it does have UV protections on it, so it can just be laid out in the sun. But this will help protect it by using this wire wrap. And again, it just gives it a much cleaner look, which is something I was going for. I wanted to install to not only be easy, but I wanted it to look really clean, which overall I think it's not bad. And because of the size of these solar panels, and because RVs are normally the same width, I was able to put the 3 across, which gave me enough spacing to create a walkway. This allows me to still get up onto the RV to inspect the roof or to actually do some servicing on the AC units and more. So overall, the build came out very well. I'm definitely pleased with how it looks. There's really one thing that I just can't get over, and that is really the install of the electrical box. Now, this was my own mistake when I put my foot down in it to add some weight to get the sealant to adhere to the top of the roof. But if you look at it, look at how it looks. Almost everything on here looks great except that, and it's just because the box ended up becoming a little bit crooked. Now, I could take some fishing string and undo the silicone that's on there, but then I would ruin that seal where the wires go through the box, and it just wasn't worth it. It is something that'll probably drive me nuts a little bit, but honestly, how many people are going to be getting up here and looking at it? It's really just for visual presentation. It's still totally functional, but I can't stand the box being crooked. It drives me crazy. But if that's the only thing wrong with this whole install, then I guess I can live with it. But if you take a look at the wiring and how it's all connected using that Dinkel rail, I think that was something that was super simple. Plus I have it inlined with a fuse up on top, not to mention the breaker down below. So overall, I think I'll just have to overlook the box. But let's talk a little bit about the pros and also some cons. Okay, so let's talk about the cons first, and that's really going to be the added weight. That's one thing with the flexible solar panels, is that you're talking about 100 pounds total for everything. By the time you weigh up everything, the solar panels being about 23 pounds each. You also add maybe 5 pounds for wiring. And then if you take a look at the connectors, these don't weigh very much, but there's a lot of connectors. So you're talking maybe almost 5 pounds of connectors. And then when it comes to the Unistrut, by the time we add up all of this minus 2 pounds, because I didn't use all of it, I had to cut some of it to length, you're talking about, 36 pounds of Unistrut. So by the time we add up everything, we're looking at about 330 pounds, give or take, let's say 5 to 10 pounds just for error, of all the stuff that you see up here today. So then, of course, that's going to take away from your payload. So then you need to start thinking about, well, can I still carry everything that you normally would? Now, for me, I pay attention to that. And there were things I was thinking about. I didn't need to carry like 8 or 9 chairs around with me. And there were certain things in my RV I also didn't need, like carrying around a whole bunch of the little 1-pound propane bottles. I used to carry like 8 or 9 of those, and I don't even need them. So now I carry like 1 or 2. And those were just extra things that helped me lose weight. I already shed 60 pounds just from my RV, and I hadn't even started. One of the things I also got rid of that I hardly ever used was my 50 amp RV power cord. That thing is extremely heavy, and that thing there is another 40 pounds. That was also additional weight I was able to get rid of because, again, I've only used it twice since I bought this RV, so that was just something I decided to take out of my RV instead of hauling it around everywhere. So the biggest con, again, is going to be the additional weight, but it's not nearly as much weight as some of those guys that were also adding the solar structures that are on top of their RVs. Those are massively huge, not to mention heavy. And honestly, if you go to resell your RV at some point, I can guarantee you there are a lot of people who are going to not want that on top, because when you have height restrictions, maybe they want to park it under some type of a carport or an RV port. It's just something that is very specific. So for me, that's just something I didn't even consider. Okay, so now let's talk about pros, because there's quite a few of them. One is that the install is super easy. You have Unistrut, which is readily available, and it's honestly not that expensive. I'll leave information down below that we can check current pricing. Using the solar clamps makes it super easy, and it's also quick, and you can use this setup on different types of RVs, again, sheds or van builds, whatever it is you want to do. And again, it's universal. You can use whatever solar panels you want pretty much. I wanted to use some of the bigger residential ones, but I honestly couldn't fit more than 3 back here, no matter how I tried to configure it. So by using the 200 watts, I was able to add more solar up here versus using the bigger ones. Now at some point, here's the cool part, again being universal, and solar panels are only getting better as time goes by. So pretty soon this size might turn into a 250. So if there are 250s that come out in this configuration, I could just simply swap those out if I wanted to. Another big pro is less penetrations, and anytime you can do less penetrations into your roof is definitely a win-win, because you're only adding 2 anchor points per rail, versus if you were to use like the Z brackets and stuff, those are 2 penetrations per bracket. That ends up being 8 penetrations per solar panel, which is now a maintenance item, because you have to check those to make sure they don't come loose. You also have to make sure that the sealant is good so you don't add another leak point, which that was something I was definitely against. Now at the moment I don't have any performance numbers because we are going into winter, but I will be giving updates as we go. And also, not to mention, these clamps are relatively new, so I have no idea how they're going to hold up going down the road. I was actually thinking about that, and so I decided I think I'm going to be taking a lot of these clamps back off just one at a time. I'm going to be adding some blue Loctite. I literally was just thinking about that right before I shot this part of the video, because I was like, well, I don't have any data from anybody because I don't know anybody who's used these clamps. So how do they hold up going down the road? I don't even know yet. So that'll be something you'll want to stay updated on, because I do have some trips coming up, so it'll be perfect to test it out and to see how well it works. And will they stay in place with the lock washers or hardware that's provided, or do you actually need to use that Loctite? Because I'll actually leave a couple that I won't put Loctite on, but I will Loctite all the others just to see if they stay into place, and I'll just check them every time I go on a trip at each stop. But overall, the pros on this is that you get a super clean look. It's also not sticking up high above the roof, which makes it look pretty stealthy as far as when you're on the ground. It's also tucked into the RV really well versus being, again, above the roof line really high. It's just something I don't like. I like a nice, clean, flush look. Hence, that was one of the reasons I did like the flexible solar panels, because you couldn't really tell they were up there, and not to mention no aerodynamic drag. Basically like this, the amount of drag that you're going to have on a really low profile solar array is going to be a lot less than like one of those superstructures, or even some of the other solar panels that are on roofs. You see those things 4 or 5 inches above the roof, and to me, that just does not look aesthetically pleasing. So overall, again, I'm super happy with this. If you guys have any questions, put them down below in the comments. I'll leave everything that you saw in the links and descriptions down below. I hope you guys liked the video, and I hope to see you in another one.